Is the Resident Evil 2 remake worthy of Game of the Year? What's up guys, Gemma here and back again for another video, and today I'm going to be telling you some of my thoughts around the Resident Evil 2 remake, having played it all weekend on stream, and by the time this video goes out it would have been completed. I played it through on the PlayStation 4 and I played with Leon in my initial playthrough. I'm going to be going through the Resident Evil 2 remake again with Claire. Now, rather than do this, stand in front of a camera and just deliver my thoughts on this remake, I thought we would do some Metacritic reactions. So I've had a look at some of the user comments for both the Xbox One version of the Resident Evil 2 remake as well as the PlayStation 4 version. Now I've decided, I thought it'd be nice to mix it up, and we're going to start with the bottom comments. I'm quite surprised actually at some of them, so you need to stay tuned for this. Make sure you watch this video in its entirety, and if you've played the Resident Evil 2 remake, please smash a comment below and share this video across your social media. I will link the Metacritic, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One links in the description. We're going to start with this person here. Bacchus Plays says, gives it a 4 out of 10. Just another cash grab by Capcom. Only good thing about it is the graphics, but it's the same dull script. Boring third person mode and poorly designed inventory system. Limited again, really. The game should have been done as first person, just like Resident Evil 7, just to do something different with it. Let's not forget that less than a minute ending, a rental, nothing more. Dead Space and Outlast have already shown Resident Evil how to do a proper game. Wow, okay, so the one thing I do really like about this comment is that it's fleshed out with some examples as to why this person doesn't like it, because I can't stand the kinds of comments that slate video games for don't buy or this game is terrible. So this person actually fleshes it out. I think he's a little bit harsh. I think he's right in terms of the graphics being absolutely stellar. Now, as I said, I'm playing on a base PlayStation 4 and it looks really crisp. I'm going to be playing it through again off stream on my PlayStation 4 Pro. Do I think the game should have been first person like this person here says it should? Not at all. I think it works great in third. I think I actually got a little bit bored of Resident Evil 7 in first person. I played through on all of the difficulties and I just felt a complete disconnect with the character, because you don't really see their face, you don't see what they're wearing, and you know, for me, a game as tense as any Resident Evil game, I feel that I will be able to connect with the experience more in third person because I can see my character. So as much as Bacchus Plays flashes out is whining, it's not quite, I don't quite agree with it. Let's check out the next one. So this person, Asa Zimbabwe, rates a 6 out of 10. This is a high quality remake for certain. Looks great, feels good, affectionate remaster. However, search for the lever that unlocks the handle that unlocks the door, rinse, repeat, run in circles for hours, an infuriating mind F map. Could rent it in a day or two and pay $60, play Resident Evil 4 again instead. So again, we've got a little bit of a rant here that is fleshed out. And I like the fact that this person acknowledges some of the good points, and I completely agree with it. I think this is a great remake. Graphically, there's no question about it. It's absolutely stunning, and it does feel good. But you know, this person has just mentioned here about running around in circles. That is Resident Evil. That was the first, that was the second, that was the third, and to some extent that was the fourth. The fifth maybe not so much, and the sixth, I just can't stand the sixth. But I think, like, what did you expect when you went in to play the Resident Evil 2 remake? Something completely new? Like a Grand Theft Auto sandbox game? The ability to make choices? No, you know what you're getting. So for me, it's kind of slated it for something that is so obvious it's not worth mentioning. But nonetheless, fleshed out. Do I agree with it? It's definitely worth more than a 6 out of 10. So this person, File 5 out of 10. Really hate games that expect me to run past enemies instead of shooting them. Halfway through the game, a bunch of enemies start to appear, and that annoying, unkillable tyrant as well. Running like crazy, almost dying, and rushing through everything is not my idea of fun. Regret buying big time. What a waste of money. This is probably the most, out of the ones I'm going to read, for me personally, this is a terrible comment. It doesn't acknowledge anything, and it doesn't like anything positive, and it doesn't sound like File has ever played a Resident Evil game before, because again, what did you expect? A lot of Resident Evil is about running and dodging, moving out of hordes of zombies. If you're out of ammo, that's your only choice, and at times stealth can be as much of an ally as your handgun, as your shotgun, as your flamethrower. So for me personally, I think that this is a little bit harsh. I don't think it's a waste of money either. They kind of list this as their last sentence. There's so much replay value. It is not a waste of money at all. Running like crazy, almost dying, rushing, the unkillable tyrant as well. You've definitely never played a Resident Evil game before, mate. So we got another one, another 6 out of 10 from Hoo. This is shocking considering the Resident Evil 2 remake. People have been pegging it as game of the year. It's going to be awesome. It's this, it's that. This person says, awesome graphics, but the game mechanics are quite ancient and difficult. The mechanics are not by far close to the best of games that have come out within the last decade or so. Why too many cut sequences where we may as well just watch the movie? There's barely any cutscenes, like, honestly, and the cutscenes are relevant. I don't mind cutscenes providing they add value. It's when a cutscene comes on and it just runs for 20 minutes, like in Final Fantasy 13. You know, everything I saw in the Resident Evil 2 remake, you see for a reason, and it has purpose, and it adds value. So again, to me, that just sounds like somebody has not played a Resident Evil game before. It says here, but the mechanics are quite ancient and difficult. Well, tell us how. Okay, there's a few things in maybe the turning. There is a quick turn. It is a little bit clunky, but nonetheless, it's something that, for me, it's a small detail. Do I think Resident Evil 7 is going to be Game of the Year? No, but I'm going to elaborate on that. But that's a little bit harsh, guys. What do you think? This is so fun. We've actually got some positive comments I'm going to read here. Now, I will say there were some comments on Metacritic that if you expanded them, it was just like reams and reams and reams. So I've just taken the kind of snippets that I feel I could have read quite easily to you guys here. So, 10 out of 10, Much Games says, thank you, Capcom. This remake is beautiful. The work done is great. 10 out of 10. Now waiting for a remake of Resident Evil 3 next year. Okay, Resident Evil 3, first of all, I just want to kind of talk about that. I think we are going to get a remake of Resident Evil 3. We've had 2 remakes of Resident Evil, the first. We've had the Resident Evil 2. We've had a multiple platform release of Resident Evil 4. We've had a next gen release of 5 and 6 as well. The only thing left is Resident Evil 3. So I think we need to speculate in this video that Resident Evil 3 remake will be happening, and I am excited. Now, Much Games tends, I think by the first line, thank you Capcom, showing some gratefulness there. It is what it is. It is a beautiful remake. I don't quite think it's a 10 out of 10 game, but nonetheless, we're going to continue reading these before I conclude with my own personal thoughts. Now, F22 Raptor, another 10 out of 10. Resident Evil is an incredible remake, which is not afraid to change what it takes to update the most important video forever Game of the Year 2019. Quite a basic comment, doesn't really give me a lot to go on to kind of understand why this person rated it 10 out of 10, but nonetheless, clearly a Resi fan. And we got another 10 out of 10, Geo Forever. It's simply a masterpiece, please. It's simply a masterpiece, must play. I got that feel back in the day, so we've played it before. I can tell this game is even harder than the original, playing hardcore mode. Game of the Year 2019. So clearly it sounds like this person has been with this series for quite some time. And another person that mentioned this as being Game of the Year. Now let me just explore that for a second. If I compare in my own mind Resident Evil 2, the remake, versus God of War from last year. For me, those games are on completely different pedestals. I don't think the Resident Evil 2 remake is anywhere near the breadth of the magnitude of God of War in terms of its soundtrack, visuals, story, interactions, finesse. Yes, the Resident Evil 2 remake is freaking awesome. Yes, you should be buying it. But I don't think it's going to be Game of the Year. I think the year is still young. We have a lot to come. But it's really, really nice to see people kind of getting hyped for it. You know, people clearly want it to be the Game of the Year. And if it is, great. I think it will win some awards. I don't think it will quite be Game of the Year. Now, I've really enjoyed Resident Evil 2, the remake on the PlayStation 4. If you've not caught the streams, the entire playthrough with Leon, my first playthrough, will be in the stream playlist. One thing that I didn't like, I'm just going to say this now. One thing I didn't like, if you didn't have a combat knife or a flashbang or a grenade, if a zombie comes at you and you have none of those three, you're going to have to take a hit. There's no way to wriggle it off. There's no way to kind of melee with just your fists. If you did have a grenade, there'd be the L1 option to kind of plunge the grenade in the mouth of the zombie, and that obviously takes some points away and it gives you a bit of time to step back to kind of gather what you're doing and then go back into it. Now, that unfortunately made me die a couple of times in my first playthrough. I just wish you could kind of have like the wiggle of the maybe the analog stick to try and get away, but they didn't implement that. So I think in terms of gameplay mechanics, that is the only thing that made me feel just like, ooh, not quite cutting it there. Everything else I thoroughly enjoyed. I found the puzzles, everything made sense. Like sometimes I've played through a Resident Evil game, like there were elements to Resident Evil 1 where I was like, I just kind of felt like I was drowning. There's way too much to do. I mean, somebody mentioned the map there, saying that it was overcomplicated in Resident Evil 2. It is not overcomplicated at all. It's really easy to navigate. When you venture into new areas, you can quite easily find new maps for the new areas. With a little bit of patience, you know, they're there, that you don't have to kind of venture too far in and then find the map. You venture in, you maybe kill a couple of zombies, and then the map's there. So for me, I found it quite entry level. I don't think you would have needed to have played other Resident Evil games to really kind of get into this. If you like your horror, if you like your zombies, you're gonna like Resident Evil 2. Will it be Game of the Year? Not quite. Some of these comments I think were a little bit harsh, but nonetheless, everyone's opinion is different, and that's absolutely cool. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Go and pick yourselves up a copy of the Resident Evil 2 remake. It is well worth it in my opinion. If there's any PC gamers out there, please share your experiences of playing this on the PC, as well as I've only talked about the console versions. But for now, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Let me know if you want me to kind of do more Metacritic reactions. For me personally, I've really enjoyed this video. So let me know in the comment section. But for now, please hit that subscribe button. My name is Gemma. See you in the next one. Take care. See you soon.